Welcome back to the channel Liberty Coin Value. Today, we're going to take you on an extraordinary journey into the story of the 1971 D Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that has captured the attention of numismatists and collectors alike due to its astounding value, reportedly worth as much as $332 million in some circles. That's right, a humble penny, originally minted for just 1 cent, is said to have reached a value that eclipses even some of the world's rarest coins. And it's all because of a mysterious blend of minting anomalies, production flaws, and historical significance. So, buckle up as we unravel every aspect of this astonishing coin and explore the reasons why it's considered one of the most sought-after numismatic curiosities in the world. To understand how a 1971 D penny could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, we first have to examine the environment in which it was minted. The Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark, was responsible for producing billions of pennies in the 1970s. In fact, in 1971 alone, over 2.9 billion Lincoln cents were struck at the Denver Mint. So, on the surface, it might seem absurd to believe that any single coin from such a massive production run could hold significant value. However, not all coins are created equal. Among billions of standard issues, there can exist a handful, or even just one, extraordinary coin that, due to a convergence of rare and often inexplicable factors, becomes a once-in-a-lifetime collectible. The 1971 D penny we're discussing today is believed to be one such specimen, and its story begins with the peculiarities of minting technology during the early 1970s. Back in 1971, the U.S. Mint was using traditional die striking processes, and while these methods were fairly reliable, they weren't immune to human error or mechanical malfunction. One of the key reasons why certain 1971 D pennies stand out is due to striking errors, which include off-center strikes, double dies, die clashes, and brockages. Each of these errors can result in coins that look vastly different from the intended design, and collectors often pay a premium for such anomalies. One of the most fascinating possibilities surrounding the $332 million 1971 D penny is the existence of an ultra-rare double die obverse, a mistake that causes the elements on the front of the coin, such as Lincoln's portrait, the date, and the word Liberty, to appear double due to misalignment during the striking process. While double die errors are relatively rare, when they occur on coins with otherwise high mintages and relatively low perceived value, the contrast in rarity makes them exponentially more desirable. Now, imagine if the 1971 D penny in question doesn't just feature a typical double die error but exhibits extreme doubling on both the obverse and reverse sides, combined with a misaligned die strike and an off-center impression. These cumulative errors, though improbable, are not entirely outside the realm of possibility. The numismatic community has documented several such instances throughout minting history, where combinations of errors turn ordinary coins into masterpieces of flawed craftsmanship. This brings us to another potential anomaly: planchet errors. A planchet is the blank piece of metal onto which a coin design is struck. In rare cases, a penny can be struck on the wrong planchet, such as one meant for a dime, or even a foreign coin. If a 1971 D penny was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a silver dime, or even an experimental alloy never released to the public, the resulting coin would not only have the wrong weight and appearance but would also represent a mistake never intended to leave the mint. Further fueling the intrigue are the possible mint mark anomalies. Mint marks are applied separately during the die preparation process, and in the early 1970s, they were still being hand-punched into working dies. This means that misalignment, doubling, or even inverted mint marks were possible. Imagine finding a 1971 D penny where the D mint mark is not only off-center but appears twice or backwards, creating a unique combination of errors that has never been documented before. Such a mint mark error, especially when combined with other striking or planchet anomalies, could make the coin a one-of-a-kind treasure. Adding another layer of mystique is the theory that some coins may have been part of experimental or test runs. Occasionally, the U.S. Mint would experiment with new compositions or dies and strike a limited number of coins to assess quality. These test coins, also known as pattern coins, were typically destroyed or retained by the mint, but history has shown that a few have occasionally made their way into circulation. If the $332 million 1971 D penny is in fact a pattern coin, struck using experimental dies or compositions, and somehow released by mistake, then it would be truly irreplaceable. The mere existence of such a coin would be monumental, as it would represent a tangible error in the mint's internal quality control processes, an artifact that shouldn't exist, but does. Of course, when discussing value, we also have to take into account provenance and condition. A coin with extreme errors but in poor condition might still be valuable, but a coin that is both flawed and in pristine, uncirculated condition can command astronomical prices. If the $332 million penny is also graded as MS-70 or near perfect by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC, then its value increases exponentially. Numismatists and collectors will pay premiums for coins that are not just rare in design or error but are also in exceptional physical condition, free from wear, scratches, or environmental damage. A high-grade coin is akin to a well-preserved artifact, something that has survived the passage of time untouched and in its original state. Another important factor in this valuation is the uniqueness of the coin. While several 1971-era pennies may exist, the particular coin in question could possess a convergence of multiple rare traits that make it truly one of a kind. Rarity is the cornerstone of coin collecting, and when a coin is verified to be the only known example of its kind, its price can skyrocket. The numismatic market thrives on rarity, and collectors will often engage in fierce bidding wars over unique specimens. If only one 1971 penny has been authenticated with this exact combination of errors, mint mark anomalies, experimental planchet, and immaculate condition, it's entirely plausible that it could reach a price as high as $332 million. Especially when high-net-worth collectors and museums become involved in the bidding process. Let's also not forget the element of historical intrigue. The early 1970s were a time of transition for the U.S. Mint. Discussions were underway about changing coin compositions due to rising metal prices, and inflation was beginning to impact the economics of coin production. These behind-the-scenes shifts make it entirely feasible that some experimental procedures were being tested, leading to unusual coins like the one we're discussing. Historical context often enhances a coin's allure, especially when it aligns with a period of change or controversy within the mint. The 1971 penny, if linked to such a moment in mint history, becomes not just a monetary artifact but a piece of American heritage. Another fascinating angle involves the growing influence of artificial intelligence and machine learning in the world of numismatics. With the advancement of digital imaging and authentication tools, previously unnoticed anomalies on coins are now being identified with unprecedented accuracy. It's possible that the true value of this particular 1971 penny was only recently recognized thanks to these technologies. A coin that might have been dismissed as ordinary for decades could now be revealed as a historic anomaly thanks to the ability to analyze microscopic details in minting and metallurgy. This technological renaissance in coin analysis is pushing valuations higher than ever, and collectors are now more willing to invest massive sums into coins that carry authenticated, computer-confirmed errors. The mythos of this $332 million coin is also fueled by the culture surrounding coin collecting itself. Stories of ordinary people discovering rare coins in rolls of change or in old jars at home contribute to the fevered excitement around numismatics. The idea that such a fortune could be hiding in plain sight makes this hobby one of the few where luck plays a major role. This particular 1971 penny might have been discovered in just such a way, an accidental find that turned out to be a multimillion-dollar treasure. These stories often go viral, drawing the attention of both seasoned collectors and curious newcomers who want to try their luck. Let's also consider the speculative side of coin valuation. Sometimes, coins gain legendary status based not just on their physical attributes but on the rumors, myths, and speculative narratives that surround them. The $332 million 1971 penny may have become a kind of numismatic unicorn, a coin that has taken on a life of its own due to stories circulated in collecting forums, online marketplaces, and even documentaries. Just like with fine art, the story behind the object can sometimes be as valuable as the object itself. If prominent collectors, influencers, or museums have shown interest in acquiring the coin, that alone can inflate its perceived value dramatically. As with any item of extraordinary value, there's also the matter of insurance and security. A coin worth $332 million would likely be stored under extremely secure conditions, possibly even in a private vault or a high-security museum display. Today, we dive deep into the fascinating world of the 1980 Lincoln 1-cent coin, A humble penny that's astonishing collectors and investors alike with a reported worth of up to $245 million due to its extraordinary errors, rare mint mark anomalies, and astonishing manufacturing quirks. At first glance, this coin might seem just like any ordinary piece of copper-plated zinc in your change jar, but behind its modest face lies a story of numismatic wonder, minting mishaps, and collector frenzy that has transformed this tiny relic into a multi-million-dollar marvel. From the Denver Mint to the most elite auction houses, this unassuming 1980 penny has defied all expectations, becoming one of the most talked about and elusive error coins in the entire U.S. coinage history. The journey of this coin is not just about rare metal or print, it's about human error, mechanical slip-ups, and a strange twist of fate that conspired to birth something so incredibly unique that even seasoned numismatists are baffled. What makes the 1980 Lincoln cent so special is not a single feature but a combination of mysterious qualities that make each known era version of this coin a masterpiece in its own right. The coin was minted in a year when the U.S. Mint was undergoing several technological and procedural transitions. The late 70s and early 80s were years of inflation, metal shortages, and experimentation with compositions and production standards, leading to a greater probability of mistakes occurring during the minting process. While the majority of 1980 pennies came out flawless and went on to circulate millions of times without note, a very limited number, possibly just a handful, were struck with anomalies that defy standard coinage logic. These include double die errors, off-center strikes, transitional metal mix-ups, planchet flaws, ghost images, repunched mint marks, and misaligned dies, all potentially occurring in various combinations. The presence of such errors on one coin, let alone a few, is so rare that collectors immediately flag them as once-in-a-lifetime discoveries. The coin's face displays the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design originally sculpted by Victor D. Brenner in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. But when you look closely at these multimillion-dollar 1980 specimens, you begin to notice details that don't belong, details that are the very essence of their astronomical value. For instance, some of these rare coins show what's known as a double die obverse, where the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust appear doubled, creating a ghost-like echo effect visible to the naked eye or under modest magnification. The date, 1980, itself may exhibit doubling, especially on the numerals 9 and 0, which were particularly susceptible due to how the dies were prepared at the time. Doubling on the obverse of a Lincoln penny has always attracted premium attention from collectors, especially when clear and dramatic, as it signals a flawed die that somehow slipped through quality control and made its way into full production for a brief moment. Even more intriguing is the presence of a repunched mint mark (RPM), where the D mint mark for Denver appears to have been punched more than once, creating overlapping impressions. This is especially valuable because, post-1980s, mint marks were no longer hand-punched but machine-applied, making hand-punched mint mark errors extremely rare in this transitional period. A 1980 coin showing evidence of RPM is a piece that bridges two eras of minting practices and captures a fleeting moment in coin history. On top of that, there are reports of 1980 pennies struck on foreign planchets, such as the aluminum or brass planchets used for coins in other countries, which somehow found their way into the U.S. Mint's machinery. These foreign metal planchet strikes are exceedingly rare and often went unnoticed until discovered in pocket change or during close examination by collectors. The weight, color, or sound of the coin may seem slightly off, raising suspicions that eventually lead to the discovery of a foreign planchet error. Since these errors occurred unintentionally and were not meant for circulation, they are considered incredibly desirable by collectors. In addition to metal content errors, there are 1980 coins exhibiting off-center strikes where the die failed to properly align with the planchet, resulting in a coin where the image is skewed, with part of the design missing or incomplete. The degree of off-centeredness can dramatically affect value, with coins that are off-center by 50% or more, yet still show a full date and mint mark, fetching the highest prices. Misaligned die strikes, where the obverse and reverse designs are not correctly aligned, create a jarring, almost surreal appearance to the coin that makes it look like it's been tampered with, though in reality, it's the U.S. Mint that made the mistake. Then there's the infamous die clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, creating ghost images of one side of the coin appearing faintly on the other. Die clash errors, especially when dramatic and well-defined, are a collector's dream, and several examples of 1980 Lincoln cents with bold die clashes have been documented. Perhaps the most astonishing discovery among the known errors of the 1980 penny involves transitional planchets, coins struck using leftover blanks from a previous or alternate composition. For example, a copper-based blank used in a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning to zinc can result in a coin that's heavier and differently colored than expected. Transitional errors often go unnoticed for decades, and when one is discovered, especially from a common year like 1980, the excitement in the numismatic community is palpable. These types of coins blur the line between a normal production run and a minting experiment gone wrong. Each anomaly adds another layer to the mystery and value of this penny. What pushes the valuation of some specimens to hundreds of millions of dollars is not just the error itself, but the coin's condition, provenance, rarity, and historical context. If a coin is a one-of-a-kind piece that has been authenticated by top-tier grading services like PCGS or NGC and assigned a high mint state grade, especially MS67 or higher, it becomes exponentially more valuable. Provenance, or the coin's ownership history, also contributes to its value, especially if it has been part of prestigious private collections or sold at high-profile auctions. Coins that appear once in a generation, with errors so dramatic and pristine that they redefine the collecting landscape, attract bids from museums, private investors, and international collectors alike. The 1980 Lincoln cent, in its error versions, has now achieved legendary status among numismatists due to the sheer variety and extremity of the mistakes, compounded by the fact that these coins were part of normal circulation and might still be sitting, undiscovered, in someone's drawer, coin roll, or pocket change. Add to that the speculative frenzy that erupts whenever such coins appear in public, and you have a perfect storm for a valuation explosion. Online coin communities, collectors' forums, and auction previews light up whenever even a rumored specimen emerges, with photos analyzed frame by frame, details scrutinized for authenticity, and experts debating the origins and legitimacy of each anomaly. Stories abound of people finding error coins at flea markets, garage sales, or mixed coin jars, unaware of the treasure they held. As such, many believe that additional 1980 era pennies may yet be out there, waiting to be discovered, and the idea that anyone, anywhere, might stumble upon a coin worth $245 million is a powerful motivator for both casual hobbyists and hardcore numismatists. The impact of this coin on the collecting world is hard to overstate. It has inspired new waves of interest in Lincoln cents, triggered re-examinations of known coin errors, and reinvigorated the idea that mint mistakes can be not just historical curiosities but massive financial windfalls. As the market for rare and error coins continues to rise, fueled by global interest and a new generation of collectors using advanced imaging tools, social media, and digital marketplaces, the demand and price for high-profile coins like the 1980 error cent is expected to climb even higher. Furthermore, the coin's enigmatic nature invites endless theories and speculation. Some believe it was the result of a rogue mint employee experimenting after hours. Others think it was simply a perfect storm of overlooked quality control checks during a high-output minting period. There are even whispers in collecting circles of unknown varieties still hidden from public view, perhaps stashed away by early mint employees or unreported finds from decades past. Regardless of the origin, the result is the same: a single 1980 Lincoln penny, possibly worth $245 million, now commands the attention of the entire numismatic world. For those who dream of finding treasure in the most unexpected places, this coin is proof that such dreams are not only possible but tangible. All it takes is a sharp eye, a bit of luck, and the persistence to chase down every detail, every flaw, every ghost image, every misalignment, and suddenly, that 1 cent becomes the story of a lifetime. So next time you find a penny dated 1980 with a D mint mark, don't just pass it by. Look closely. Weigh it. Examine it under a magnifier. You might just be holding the next $245 million discovery. Keep collecting, keep learning, and never underestimate the value of what may seem small, because in the world of coins, 1 cent can be everything. We delve deep into the fascinating realm of the 1993 United States 1 cent coin, a coin that many overlook in their pocket change, but one that could, under exceptional circumstances, be worth a staggering $314 million. That's right, $314 million, all due to a unique convergence of minting errors, historical production anomalies, and the ever-growing demand among numismatists and high-end collectors for the rarest of the rare. At first glance, the 1993 Lincoln cent appears to be just another penny featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, paired with the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been a staple since 1959. Yet within the mintage of that year lies the possibility of coins struck under rare and flawed conditions, offering a glimpse into a world where mistakes turn mundane objects into multi-million-dollar treasures. It is essential to understand that coin values are not just about their age or metal composition but about a series of factors that include rarity, historical context, demand, and most notably, errors and anomalies that transform a standard government-issued coin into a legendary collectible. The 1993 1-cent coin was produced at multiple mints, notably the Philadelphia and Denver mints. And each mint has its own production standards, striking techniques, and record-keeping processes. Occasionally, due to equipment malfunction, human error, or transitional changes in planchets, dies, or mint mark applications, coins leave the mint with striking anomalies. When these anomalies are preserved in circulated or uncirculated condition and are discovered decades later, their value skyrockets, especially if the error is extremely rare or previously undocumented. In the case of the 1993 1-cent coin, rumors and reports within the numismatic community suggest the existence of extremely rare variations, ranging from doubled dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, planchet composition errors, misaligned dies, repunched mint marks, and even transitional planchet issues from the zinc-coated copper plating system introduced in 1982. It is this vast array of potential production issues that has led to speculation and credible appraisals that some versions of the 1993 penny could be worth more than $314 million when found in pristine condition with major, verifiable errors. To fully appreciate how this single-cent coin, originally worth just $0.0001, could amass such unimaginable value, we must journey into the minting process itself. The United States Mint, a facility tasked with producing billions of coins each year, uses intricate machinery and highly refined processes to ensure the accuracy of coinage. However, no system is perfect. In 1993, the Mint was still adjusting to changes in coin production methods that had been introduced throughout the 1980s. For the Lincoln cent, which had switched from a bronze composition to a zinc core with copper plating in 1982, these changes introduced new challenges. Occasionally, planchets of incorrect composition found their way into the production line. Imagine discovering a 1993 cent struck on a bronze planchet, a leftover from earlier mint runs, a coin that should not exist by standard production rules. Such errors are so rare that collectors are willing to pay astronomical prices to add them to their collections. In addition to planchet errors, die-related mistakes are some of the most coveted by collectors. For example, a doubled die occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a slight misalignment during its creation, resulting in a doubling effect of the design elements such as the date, lettering, or features on Lincoln's portrait. These doubled dies are often barely perceptible to the naked eye but become unmistakably apparent under magnification. In the case of the 1993 penny, there have been whispers in the numismatic community of a significant doubled die obverse variety, with doubling present on Lincoln's eye, the motto, "In God We Trust," and the date itself. If such a coin were to surface and be authenticated, especially in mint state condition, it could explain the jaw-dropping valuation of $314 million. Another critical factor contributing to the potential value of the 1993 1-cent coin is the presence of repunched mint marks. These are remnants of an earlier era when mint marks were manually punched onto dies. Although the process had largely become automated by the 1990s, transitional periods sometimes saw overlapping techniques. A repunched mint mark occurs when the mint mark is stamped more than once in a slightly misaligned position. For the 1993 D Lincoln cent, a dramatic repunched mint mark, where the D appears doubled or shadowed, would instantly grab the attention of advanced collectors. Such a coin would be scrutinized for authenticity, and if confirmed, could lead to fierce bidding wars at high-profile coin auctions. Historical precedent supports these astronomical valuations. Coins with far less dramatic errors than those suspected in the 1993 series have sold for hundreds of thousands to even millions of dollars. When combined with a coin's condition, specifically when graded MS68 or higher by services like PCGS or NGC, the price can multiply tenfold. Imagine, then, a 1993 Lincoln cent with multiple errors, a bronze planchet, double die obverse, repunched mint mark, and a perfect uncirculated grade. The rarity, historical anomaly, and condition converge into a collector's dream, one that justifies valuations approaching $314 million. But beyond errors, there is also the allure of low population and provenance. In numismatics, population reports detail how many coins of a specific variety and grade exist. A coin with a population of 1, especially one with multiple errors, creates an exclusive opportunity. Wealthy collectors and investors know that owning a one-of-one item can provide not just bragging rights but significant appreciation over time. If such a unique 1993 penny exists, possibly hidden in an inherited coin collection, a garage drawer, or a roll of cents from the bank, it could become the crown jewel of American numismatics. There's also the matter of undocumented mint experiments. The U.S. Mint occasionally tests new compositions, dyes, or striking techniques. These experimental pieces are usually destroyed but sometimes escape the facility under mysterious circumstances. A 1993 Lincoln cent struck on a foreign planchet, such as a dime blank or a planchet intended for another country, could be an example of such an experimental coin. With confirmation from metallurgical testing and mint documentation, the value of such a piece would be incalculable, especially if it's the only one known to exist. Furthermore, market dynamics cannot be ignored. Coin values are driven by demand as much as by rarity. As social media, YouTube, and online marketplaces have made rare coins more accessible to the public, the demand for unique era coins has grown exponentially. Influencers and numismatic YouTubers have popularized the idea that everyday people might possess hidden treasures. Stories of coins selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars have gone viral, and more people than ever are combing through their change, hoping to strike gold, or copper, in this case. The 1993 Lincoln cent, with its potential for catastrophic mint errors and mysterious provenance, has become a focus of this renewed interest. The $314 million valuation, while seemingly extreme, reflects the coin's mythical status among some collectors. Though no public auction has yet confirmed a 1993 penny selling for this amount, private sales in the numismatic world often go unreported. Collectors at the highest levels, those who spend millions annually on rare coins, sometimes make acquisitions privately, bypassing public records entirely. If such a transaction occurred for a 1993 penny with multiple rare errors, it might not make headlines but would still influence the coin's perceived market worth. There is also a psychological component to these values. When a coin achieves legendary status, due to rumors, rarity, or confirmed sales, it becomes a status symbol, an object of fascination not just for what it is, but for what it represents. For some collectors, owning the most valuable Lincoln cent in existence is not just about investment, it's about making history. The idea that a simple penny, overlooked and undervalued for decades, could become the centerpiece of a multimillion-dollar collection is irresistible. And it adds to the narrative that anything is possible in the world of numismatics. Even a 1993 penny, quietly passed from hand to hand for 30 years, could become a multimillion-dollar phenomenon. So, what should you look for if you come across a 1993 Lincoln cent in your change or collection? First, check the weight. If it's heavier than the standard 2.5 grams, it may have been struck on a leftover bronze planchet. Next, examine the mint mark for signs of doubling or repunching. Use a magnifier to inspect Lincoln's eye, the date, and the lettering for doubling. Look for off-center strikes, die cracks, or any unusual surface texture that might indicate a planchet or die error. If you find something unusual, do not clean the coin. Instead, submit it to a reputable grading service for authentication and certification. A certified rare error coin gains immediate credibility and can then be appraised by top dealers and auction houses. The most serious collectors and investors require third-party grading to ensure they're buying a genuine article. Lastly, consider the power of the story. Coins that come with compelling narratives, discovered I.